The assembly interface is a relatively simple interface. You'll find most of the tools that you'll use on the assembly tab, and I'll cover all of these within the subsequent videos. There's a tab for creating layouts if you use that. The evaluate tab is one to look through because there's quite a few new things that you wouldn't find in the parts or drawings evaluate tab, and there's a lot of useful tools which once again I'll also cover in subsequent videos. And there's also a render tools tab if you have SolidWorks Professional or if you have PhotoView 360 standalone. You can also use these. You can also use this tab to create your appearances, as well as edit the scene and edit decals. Just like in parts, we have the same heads-up display. And if I create a new assembly document and come into the options and choose document properties, I can set up my document. I can choose my drafting standard, and once again go through any of the options that I want to change. For example, if I want shaded cosmetic threads to show up in the detailing options, I can choose that as well. You can change your units, a few of the model display options. Within the image quality, you'll notice by default that you can't drag this because it's referencing the parts. If you say apply to all reference part documents, you can change the image quality, and this one's quite important. If you're working with a really large assembly, you'll want to bring this down as far as you can, or as far as still looks good for the work that you're doing. If you have a really fast computer and a small assembly, you can keep it high and keep that level of detail high. But that's how you modify the image quality for the assembly document template. And then there are several options for sheet metal, as well as displaying planes. Just like a part or drawing, once you have your document property set up, I would do a save as, choose assembly templates, and I can give this some sort of custom name so I know that that has all the document properties that I want to be using. Lastly, if you go back into the options, there are several assembly options. For example, if you're working with a large assembly, by default this is set to go into large assembly mode past 500 components. You can also enable large design review. And there's another option that typically comes up in the display selection for assemblies, and that's whether to force assembly transparency or not. So if I go into the manual press and right click and edit a part, you'll notice all the other parts become transparent. If you want to change that, you can choose how transparent you want, say 50%, and that'll update. Or the option I like to use, which is opaque assembly, allows you to edit while keeping everything looking normal. So it's a little bit easier sometimes to see edges and features. But that's the layout of the assembly interface, and I'll go into further detail on using all of the functions in subsequent videos.